Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angel, and we're heading out from Talkeetna today in Alaska. This is one of Emerald Design's latest, greatest airports in the freeware world. We'll take off this ready to fly thing. This is a nice little camera mode, but we are back in the Black Box Simulations L19 Birddog. Now, big news, there's been some huge changes to this plane. The developer's been pumping out updates. It's actually pretty fantastic. It's honestly a considerable change. To the point where I've gone from my would I buy it again to absolutely yes. Now, is it going to be perfect for everybody? Not sure, but at the same time, I'm not going to be one of these people that's going to sit here and be an arrogant idiot about things. It's pretty good. It is definitely, I've heard oh, like there's an AI one part over there. I've heard from the developer himself, it's actually a completely native model, not a port, so that's squashed there. He's made tons of changes. The float version now has a gear selector in the cockpit with gear up, gear down lights right in the middle, basically slap bang there, which makes telling whether your gears down or up ready for water, landing with gear up or land with gear down is visible. The water rudder selector is right there. The water rudders now operate. Flap animation's been fixed. The mirror's more reflective now. Tons of interior changes to the actual systems and operations of the aircraft, and it is a big, big difference. Let's get ourselves started up, shall we? Also, things operate in the right direction now. Give a little throttle to kind of encourage the engine along. Okay, looking good here. Let's have our nav lights on. It's about 9 AM here. I'm about ready to move, so make sure we are all Gucci to go. Pop up on our radio stuff. Tuned to Talkeetna traffic. Announcing our, well, announcing taxi. I'll let the computer do it today.
Kilo traffic November 403 Sierra. X-ray is taxiing to runway 19er.
So today we're heading to Nugget Beach, which is about distance away. About 20 minutes. This is Alaska. Things are more often measured in time rather than anything else. We're heading on 270. Heading towards a mountain ridge, and behind that should be our airport. Welcome back to Alaskan navigation, where I haven't got much and I have to work out where I'm going by looking at the ground. Okay, so we are all done with our business here. We'll do the rest of our comms normally because I don't like doing it this way. Talkeetna traffic, November 403 Sierra X-ray taxiing 19, departure straight out. The plane handles much more nicely now, and the camera viewpoint is much better. I absolutely love this now. Feels a lot less squashed in the cockpit. Visibility is incredibly improved. You know what? It's pretty dark here, so let's pop that on. Okay. How are things looking? You know what? Probably a bit too far up here, so we'll back taxi a little bit, I think. This might have been a bit of an early taxi to go for. Look at the ground handling. It actually feels like it maneuvers a little bit better. At least it feels that way. The float version actually also definitely handles a lot nicer as I'm trying to kick this round. A little bit quick for a tail dragger, but we'll just taxi back down here. We'll depart on 19 as intended. Right, let's have some light, shall we? Go. We don't need to have both of those on. Yeah, let's have the white lighting. I must say, the plane definitely behaves a lot better. She is a much more natural aircraft in terms of flight. Notice one small bug, being that the altimeter sometimes does work or doesn't work, depending on state. That is likely something we'll get to in the near future. But this sort of plane, you're not looking at the altimeter. It's almost like a cub. You're strapping this baby on and going flying. So, they'll fix it. Considering how fast he's been pushing out updates, he'll fix it. Still no manual, but if you're an experienced flight sim, not something you really need. And the plane itself definitely has really nice tendencies when it comes to flying. The flaps animations now are completely sorted. Those have been improved. So, also the drag for full flaps is dramatically improved, so the plane will stop. It's I think overall a much more rounded aircraft. Like, this feels ready now. from what I've been learning, the SDK is really not ready. The tool's not ready. The systems are completely different to what people for Flight Sim Development World have been using. Talkie to traffic, November 4030 X-ray entering 19 for departure, straight out. Now, we have to remember FSX and P3D are based on systems, coding, and language from, as I'm about to ground loop, which I'm not going to do because I wish to hold it in time. Right, let's get rolling. Talkie to traffic, November 4030 X-ray departing 19. Little bit of wiggle still. Feels like I'm nosing over when I'm actually tail up. Oh, the rudder in actual flight sim itself is still incredibly sensitive. There we go. Get her up off the runway. A little bit of wind today, making things a little bit more squirrely. We're looking at about 10 to 15 gusting, and it's overcast with chance of rain, so it's going to make navigation a little bit more tricky. Trim is very nice in the aircraft now. I will give it that. And we're going to be looking for 270, so we're rolling onto that course in a moment. Oh, that'll be the wrong way. Okay. Nice and easy turn. It is very early morning, still quite dark in Alaska as we're heading towards the Alaskan winter. Okay, so the mountain range ahead of us should be where we're heading to once we get rolled on target. Let me just check my flight plan. Direct track of 281 at 26 nautical miles, so we're a little bit past our direction as we're climbing out here. Engines within good limits. Let's drop our climb rate. We don't really need that much altitude, especially with the ceiling today. So yeah, no, I wanted to mention this before I took off, but takeoff kind of took precedent there for a moment. The SDK in FSX and P3D is based on development practice from 15, 20 years ago. A lot of it's using C#, C++, and it's very different to a lot of the scripting language used today, which is a dramatic departure really, but a modernization that was necessary. It means a lot of the devs are very familiar with what they're using. For example, like I would say a power user when it comes to using GIMP, the photo manipulation software. It's essentially the open source Linux of the Photoshop world. I love it because it was free, and I got to become very, very good with it, to the point where I've been using it for projects and artwork that is on a par with Photoshop stuff. But I'm now trying to learn Photoshop because it has, that's a nice freeze. Photoshop has way more power to it, things I could really use to improve what I'm doing. Now, I am lost when I look at Photoshop. It confuses me. I'm not sure where the buttons are, shortcuts, processes, and it's going to be like that for a lot of developers. A lot of these developers for Flight Sim World are busy trying to catch up, trying to work out how to code in new languages, to get their aircraft to work with new animation indexes, new methodologies, new materials. So it's a big change for a lot of people, and we're not heading the right direction. That should be us over there, the mountain range. So we're looking for 281. Roll a little bit past here. This should be us heading towards that ridge there. Yeah, that first ridge is what we're looking for. It should be a nice easy flight otherwise. Let's get ourselves trimmed out nice and neat. Early morning Alaskan scenery. Looking beautiful. I must say the lighting in this simulator is phenomenal. A really nice experience to fly in. God, look at that. The sunrise behind us, flying through the dawn. Yeah, a little bit windy still out, but we are on target at the moment. Roughly, I'm doing this with no other navigation beyond Dead Reckoning, and having looked at the maps, the English topography, and establishing where I need to go, which in this case is best navigation from Talkeetna to Nugget Beach is head towards the mountain ridge. There should be a river valley to the north and south of it, which will give us a good indication it's the right one, and the airport's directly behind it. We should be just one ahead of us here, based on our trajectory. So we're about 280 right now, and the altimeter is working, so that's nice. We're about 200-300 feet up. No real need to be any higher. Although, am I looking at this right? Yeah, I'm not sure if that's correct. It doesn't feel correct for me. But I will say a lot of the systems in the aircraft are really nice. All the animations are looking pretty good. Some of the aircraft versions have a black panel, which I definitely prefer. I may swap that into some of the other aircraft like this one, the City Limits bush plane. Probably one of the nicer bush liveries. There's 2 of them right now. Might do a couple myself. But it is a gorgeous little plane. The bare metal looks fantastic. The newest updates have introduced a ton of new liveries to the plane, including for the military version. There's even a Japanese Self-Defense Force one. There's a bunch of new US Army, US Air Force ones. The float plane now has a Canadian bush livery on it as well. This guy's been pumping out stuff for this plane. The updates and patches have been quick. Customer service from Black Box Simulations has been great. And if you purchased it from their store, you can get the updates via email, the email you basically bought it with. I got the last couple of updates. In fact, before I had a chance to actually re-preview this plane for 1.3, 1.2, it was 1.3 already, and then today, this morning, before I flew, it was 1.35, including a bunch of other fixes for the cold and dark startup and systems for the aircraft. So it's been a really, really nice change, honestly. I'm really impressed with the speed of the attentiveness of the updates. As I mentioned, it's a plane that's gone from being a maybe. It was never a solid no, I'll give it that. It was always a maybe, maybe not. At first, now it's moved in category to a solid yes. I like it. And to be honest, I like anything that's coming out that's going to be a bit more bush orientated, especially considering it's got the actual floats for a version, which I love. Definitely a big difference that suits me quite nicely. Flying over forest right now. Lots of forest. Definitely feeling that things are a tiny touch adrift here. Keeping an eye out for the rivers around me. I know I'm passing over quite a couple of little tributaries which should be going north-south. I think there's one back there. But that should be the ridgeline ahead of us. It's not a huge ridge, but it should be the one leading to the actual airport. Never flown the area before, so if I was a pilot in this area in real life, I'd probably be very familiar with the terrain and landmarks. But this ridge suits what I'm meant to be looking for. Unless I'm looking slightly too far south, and that's it over there. If I go past this and find a river, it's the wrong ridge, and I need to turn right and head that way. But if not, I'll find an airport behind it. Now there's a lake over there, or what looks to be a lake. Looking at my maps. There is one on track near an RNAV point. At least I believe that's one of the lakes on track here for us. Should be passing to the right of it, which is on numbers for us. That is definitely on target, so we could be right with this one. We've been airborne for about 10-15 minutes, 10 minutes or so it's a 20-ish minute flight. Another 10 minutes to that ridge line. That should basically be exactly where we need to go. So consider this video both a little bush flight and a re-review. Or review. A review? Maybe that's something I could do as a series, you know, testing out these aircraft that developers have brought out, reviewing them, and then doing a review, where we look back at what changes have been brought, updates, how attentive the developers being, because from what I've seen so far, Black Box Simulations have actually done that. Unfortunately, big tire simulations have not with the Kit Fox. Unfortunately, because that's a plane I would love to fly nicely, but I've not seen a whisper from it. It's still very much a aeroplane. Half-assed, not really finished. Don't want to be mean about it, but there you go. Okay, so we've got more terrain coming up for us now. Should be us up ahead. Although I could be wildly off track, but being on about 280, I should be in the metric for this. So looking at the flight plan, it was 26 nautical miles. So based on our airspeed right now of about 100, maybe, miles an hour, which should equate to about 90 knots or so. We're going to be traveling that distance. Oh, we've covered 90 knots in an hour. So 45 would be 30. So yeah, about 20 minutes is about right. 21 minutes sounds about good for us. Alright, so we've got a small sort of ridge line here, coupled to another part just to the north of it, which makes me wonder if we're looking for the airport there. This should be right. Although I am seeing elevated terrain over there that's not quite as high, which would match with my trajectory looking at Garmin Pilot. There's a small bit of outcrop which is down below the line, which curves up to this, and this kind of expands outwards into the actual main mountain range, the Denali mountain range. River goes that way, and river's meant to be going that way as well, so I think we're on ballpark for this one. Bit of good old seat of the pants navigation, never hurt anybody. Some people have commented on the textures in this aircraft, or feeling like X-Plane. I don't care. I think it looks great. Looks good enough. I mean, it's a video game at the end of the day. I don't care if it looks kind of like a video game. I actually prefer this sort of texturing over the Carenado Super Photo Real style sometimes. It shows it's loved. It shows it's handcrafted rather than just slapping textures together and color correcting them. You know, this feels like something someone's made and put their work into. And looks plenty good enough. Also, I'm getting 65 FPS, so suck it, other developers. In fact, this is the first time I've seen the 65 FPS in this damn simulator. So, yeah. This aircraft is hella frame friendly. If you want to fly this around doing little GA flights in pretty dense areas like the Washington, Seattle, Portland triangle, or the Vancouver, Seattle, Portland triangle, or down in Florida, LA, that's going to be perfect. This thing has no impact on the sim whatsoever. So if anything, aircraft incredibly frame friendly, read all about it. So Nugget Beach should be for us right beyond here. We know there's an RNAV point at Nugget Beach, but at the same time that's irrelevant to us, because we can't use it. So, should be just beyond here. And we should be wonderful. Coming into some nice terrain now. A lot of people have said the sim isn't ready, it's not right, it's not good enough. I think it's what you make of it, because the base platform of the sim is pretty good. They're updating it incredibly actively, and they're comparing a sim that's existed for 15, 20 years in various versions to a sim that's existed for a month or two. Yeah, there's been a beta phase, but honestly, give it time. This thing's going to be amazing in a year. And it's fun to fly even now. You know, one of the things that bugs me most is no water kind of spray or trails behind the aircraft or wake when you're landing on the water. To be fair, that's probably going to be something they fix. I know the float version of this aircraft does actually have some slight wake effect. I'm not sure whether it's a quirk of the sim or not, but it's definitely something I'm hoping they're working on. Right, coming up to the terrain now. I'm thinking that little gouge there is the recess in a road that goes between the two. There's definitely a little valley down. Yeah, that would look about right. So that puts the airport right behind here. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, that we've actually done this correctly. Using a static map on Garmin Pilot, with my flight plan routed, a direction at a time. We're coming up in about 20 minutes, so we should be arriving in the airport, which we would be if we cross this in a minute or two. So we're bang on target, really. Time and direction, basic navigation. Dead reckoning. Although generally my aim point hasn't been a direct track to a location of a 281 degrees. It's been head towards the ridge thing, because the ridge thing is exactly where the airport will be. We clear this, we'll see an airport. I'm putting money on it now. At least £5. Probably 10. At least 750. So of course the next target, by the way, for MS, I mean look at that. The next target for Microsoft and Asobo is their next world update is going to be the USA. Hopefully that includes Alaska and Hawaii, but based on what they've done to Japan, I'm pretty impressed. So I look forward to seeing what they do to this area. And I'm guessing the inner parts of Alaska, where they don't give much of a toss, is lagging a little bit, like I can see here. Looks a little bit more sparse. It's also trying to pop in the terrain, as I don't think I've been to this area before. That is one thing I'm not a big fan of. I can't wait for some scenery areas to be released by developers that actually preload a whole region. That'd be nice. Like Orbex, bring out your True Earth stuff for Flight Sim 2020, please. Okay, ridge coming up ahead. Let's see what we've got. So it doesn't look quite as bad down there, but it doesn't look fantastic. I guess some regions just look better than others. Okay, so we've got the river to the south, that's good. That's the river over there. Yep, turns into a lake, so that's right. So this should be down here. Or at least in here somewhere. Flying over a blotchy hillside. Can't wait to put that in my rearview mirror. Right, I'm going to turn the cockpit lights off so I can not turn my flipping alternator on. That would have helped. Nice to know that the RPM does drop when you do that. Right, let's look for an airport, shall we? Nugget Beach, where are you? You should be here. There it is. Yep, we got it. Nugget Beach. Pretty positive that's the airport. Yep, to the north side of the main road and river. The road is here that crosses over there. That would be Nugget Beach. 33 Alpha Kilo traffic. November 403 Sierra X-ray is type Cessna Birddog. Inbound for landing. Entering left traffic for I don't even know what runway we've got here, so pop up my information. Runways, we've got 1200 feet, 38 feet wide, 119. So we'll be going for runway probably 19. 403 Sierra X-ray. Nugget Beach traffic, entering left traffic for 19. Downwind. There's our tiny little strip. We made it though, I'm actually happy. That's not bad dead reckoning. Short little trip, simple, but you know, it'll do the job. And this plane was a joy to fly the whole way. Okay, let's give it some throttle to keep ourselves in the air. Glare on the glass is making things difficult. That's a weird reflection. Let's give us some flaps. Nugget Beach traffic for 03 Sierra X-ray turning base for 19. Little bit shallow there. Still not too comfortable with this plane's landing configuration, but we'll get there. Do it more flaps. Bring our altitude down. There we go. Nose are in gently. Lose some altitude. In fact, I'm going to deploy those barn door 60-degree flaps to bring us down. Probably going to pull them up before approach though, because I have to turn here. Across the little valley. Oh, that's looking much nicer down here, by the way. Nugget Beach traffic, 03 Sierra X-ray, turning final for landing 19. This feels like some Vietnam jungle airport here in the shady darkness. Alright, full flaps. Let's make our approach. And there's a great big tree right on the threshold. Love that. Coming beside it. There we go. Yes, I know I'm stalling. I'm on the runway. That's how these things tend to work. Stick 4 back. Ease off the brakes. And we're down. Nice. Nugget Beach traffic, 03 CX, very clear of the active taxi parking. Okay, so that was a joyful little adventure. Not far and kind of dark in the morning here, but I must say I love this aeroplane. It has definitely won me over with how it looks and how it performs. Okay, stop it. I hate it how it does this every time. That is a fun little plane. A real joy to fly. Definitely enjoyable. Definitely worth it, I think. If you like to just potter around in the bush. Look at this livery. That looks gorgeous. All rusty and knackered. Like how I feel most days. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.